Can you hear me now? Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me now? I just, I think I fixed it. Okay, perfect. Awesome. We're going to start with what wound should you be focusing on? We're going to do pick a number 1, 2, or 3. That way we can narrow it down a little bit more. What wound are you being guided to focus on right now? 1, 2, or 3? If you picked number 1, unhealthy coping mechanisms. So either an avoidance of emotions, numbing of emotions, or drowning in emotion. So creating balance in that regard. If you pick number 2, inner critic. So your inner dialogue needs a little bit of love and light right now. And number 3, chronic stress and burnout. You need to let yourself rest and recoup. You're go, 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 and you need to take it down a notch for yourself. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to move back up to the top. 1 second. Thank you to my mods for being here. Let's see. Any messages from my mom? Pivoted action. You're divinely supported to look at, the action in the opposite, taking the action in the opposite direction of the fear. So you feel fear or stress or anxiety in some way. And she's saying the solution is to take action in the opposite direction of where you feel the fear or hesitation. We are so connected, and I watch over you every day. How is my husband's health? I think he has some problems, but he dislikes doctors. You're worried about something specific. You're on the right track, but it's not as bad as you think. So there is something, but it's either not as intense or not as far developed. Something's making him feel either not stable or not grounded. It's like a disconnect from self. So I feel the problem, but I'm not in the right state of mind to address it. Hold on. My throat started clogging up as I said that. He knows there's a problem too. He just doesn't know how to express it. But I almost feel like both of you think it's worse than it is. But if he were to go and get it addressed by a doctor, there's some kind of solution. It almost feels like something, I almost want to say something's not flowing properly. And I have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse on the bottom of the deck. It's a very slow moving energy. So I just want to say an imbalance of circulation. I don't know how that translates, but something not circulating the way it needs to be, but there's a solution. But you're right about there being a problem, just not as bad as you may think. Are there unresolved issues between my sister-in-laws, K and L and I? I feel intentionally left out or avoided at times. Unresolved issues. Defensive intelligence. They feel like you're smarter than them, and they don't know how to match up with your level of intelligence. Almost like almost like your way of communicating makes them feel inferior, or too seen. Like, I feel like you see me too much, so I'm going to avoid you because I don't want to be seen. It doesn't feel like, in terms of unresolved issues, I don't feel like this is something that ever was an issue. This is more just like avoidance of the feeling of not matching up not matching up intellectually or something to that extent. I guess I'd word it as you're unintentionally triggering for them, but they won't tell you that. Why are my orthotics taking so long? Should I get them at the hospital or follow through with independent provider? Why are they taking so long? They're trapped waiting for a final signature is how I read this, or a final okay, a final thumbs up on something. Should I get them at the hospital or follow through with independent provider? There's more patience needed. I would say independent provider. I feel like independent provider may cost you more money or maybe more work. Like, I don't know if that's paperwork, phone calls, an extra appointment or something. I don't know, but it feels like waiting for the hospital is going to take longer than the provider, but the provider may be a little bit more out of pocket than the hospital or something to that translation. But it's like they're stuck in limbo waiting for a final signature, almost like it's sitting on someone's desk and their pile of paper and yours at the bottom or something like that. Like, it's waiting for a final okay. What does my friend E's estranged husband's behavior really involve? What does my friend E's estranged husband's behavior really involve? Trying to stop her from finding out about. She's coming up as the Queen of Cups in reverse, so I'm not emotionally fulfilled by him. And then Queen of Wands in reverse, I'm hidden by him. That feels like two different people. Almost like there's something with another woman that he doesn't want her to find out about. Is that fair to say? Yeah, trying to confuse or put up a wall. It feels like there's some kind of third party energy, or at the very least, it's a conversation that he doesn't want her to know he had. At the very most, it's a whole affair. There's something with trying to hide another person so she doesn't see what's really going on. There's something between them. He feels foolish though, and kind of whatever it is, wants it to stop or wants it to just go away. But trying to defend by confusing, or defend by confusing, or like defend by avoidance or putting up some kind of front. Any messages from my spirit guide? There's going to be an opportunity coming up that's going to require you to choose yourself over somebody else's comfort or somebody else's, I don't know, like it's like you're going to be able to choose between stepping into who you know you are or trying to appease another party. And it feels like there's a bit of hesitancy when it comes to this. Maybe in the past you would have appeased the other person, but it's like you're having an opportunity to flip this Empress and step into your power here in a very healing way. It feels like this is coming within the next like 3-ish months. And it almost feels like once you choose yourself, you unlock the opportunity for either like a different like piece of your career or a passion project. It's like you make the choice to choose yourself, and it opens up a door for you of some kind. I don't feel the purest intentions from some of my coworkers. I ended up calling out for the first time this morning. Do I have anything to worry about on the job front? This is like, we don't want you to know that we're like, feels like grouping up. Grouping up behind the scenes, behind the cover of night. This feels like really, yeah, I was about to say, it feels like gossip. That's card about gossip. It feels like the potential of people using you not being there to say what they wouldn't be able to say when you were there. It doesn't feel like anything serious, like beyond that. It just feels like some pettiness, using the opportunity of you not being there to be extra petty. My husband's dad, when he passes away, is leaving the house to his son. My husband's dad, when he passes away, is he leaving the house to his son, his daughter, or grandson? Do you have an answer for the house? Is it going to the son? It's not going to the son. Going to the daughter. It is going to the daughter. Grandson. Not going to the grandson. I'm wondering if the daughter and the grandson are connected, because it feels like daughter. I feel like there's something being left to the grandson. Not that there's not something being left to the son as well, but not the same. They're not all getting the same. I feel like somebody's going to be upset about it, and someone else is going to end up being happy. I feel like it goes to the daughter. Will my marriage be restored, healed one day? Am I the one to blame because I keep getting stuck in wounded cycles? No, you're not the one to blame, because where you are being stuck in wounded cycles is also giving your partner an opportunity to address their own shadows that they wouldn't be able to address if they weren't triggered by what you are going through. It's like you are balancing out one another's healing. Like you're giving each other the opportunity to be healed so that you can, or triggered so that you can choose to heal. So your fault, no. It does look like there's improvement coming, but it also feels like there's a growing apart coming. So we continue to kind of grow apart, but as we grow apart, we work on healing more fluidly. I do feel like there's a coming back together, though. If, as you start to grow apart, you choose, like each of you chooses to blame one another or blame yourself, you'll continue to grow apart. If, when you feel that you're really starting to grow apart, you find different tools to allow for vulnerability, you'll find a way to come back together. So it's going to be essentially up to how you each maintain the flow of emotions when you're triggered by one another. And if you allow that to continue to push you further apart, or if you find tools that allow you to be vulnerable with one another. Can you tell me anything about the spirits currently with me that came from the morgue? Oh, that's interesting. That was the Eight of Swords. That makes me think of like trapped spirits, earthbound spirits. That's you, the Empress. a painful ending. Cloaking themselves in your light, or this is almost like I'm waiting for something, and while I wait, I'm staying with the light. I don't think it's anything to worry about. It's more just I have to wait around, so I'm gonna come with you. I don't know how else to explain that. I'm separated from my ability to take action. It feels like soul's stuck in limbo, but not anything that you need to be worried about, just more of like, I don't know, I'm getting an image of like a little puppy following you, but not an actual puppy, but like nothing to be concerned about. I have my mom back home with me due to what I thought was neglect in the nursing home. I am trying coconut oil and MCT along with keto. Will this help her Alzheimer's reverse any? The action you're taking is going to allow you to see the star upright with the devil reverse. Help reverse Alzheimer's. Help reverse it. I'm not feeling like reverse it. Ace of Cups and Strength are reverse, but I am seeing the opportunity or the option to alleviate some of the symptoms. So I don't necessarily feel like the Alzheimer's is going to itself start to reverse. Of course, there's always miracles. It can happen, but I'm seeing this as more saying certain symptoms of it will be easier to deal with as you make those changes. So it is going to be impactful in a positive way, just not as much as you may hope. But it does feel like the improvements are going to be significant. But it feels like there's a lid on them. Like it improves to a certain extent with that. And then it's maintainable, but it's not like a it's not like an endless improvement. It's like there's a ceiling on the improvement, but there still will be an improvement. Will our financial situation improve soon, or is a change near? It just flipped over. As soon as you would like soon to be, no. But there's a choice here or a change here that's going to help you lead to a victory. But right now, you're either not seeing it or not taking advantage of something. I want to say there's an opportunity for advancement or healing here, or like repair is really the word that I want to use. I want to word this as the need for out of the box thinking when it comes to how improvements could be made. There is an eventual improvement here, but I don't really see this happening any sooner than like 6 months to a year, I feel. It's a little bit longer in the stagnant energy. King of Pentacles reverse. Yeah. There is an opportunity to make a choice that leads to a positive change. It feels like there's a need to step outside of the box, but there's also a little bit more time needed. What is my soul lesson, purpose in lifetime? Will I achieve it? There's either a dream you had as a child, the devil in reverse. It's almost like you got a taste of what your soul purpose was. I don't know if that's a dream you had in childhood or something you like started to embark on as like a hobby or a passion project. It's like you've gotten a taste of it, but it's not something that's in your life right now. But it's also something that if you think of the childhood version of yourself, that version of you would like it would make sense to that version of you. Like if you put yourself in the perspective of that childhood version of you, whatever this is that you got a taste of but isn't still all the way part of your day to day, it would make sense to that childhood version of you. It feels like it's something analytical mixed with emotions, like almost like a higher understanding of the emotional processes. Yeah, not complete it. It's like this has been in your life, but not fully yet. I almost want to say like diving into your inner child wounds will help you pinpoint what exactly that energy is. Does my spirit guide have a message for me? It feels like there's some kind of shadow wound coming to the surface because that's what I asked, and then this came out. It's like an unexpected shadow wound that you uh, it's almost like you get triggered in a shadow wound way, and the way that you handle it gives you some kind of lucky break. So we have 777 up top here, but one's in reverse. So you need clarity to see the opportunity for a win, because the old version of you would self-sabotage, but now you're seeing the truth about what you're able to handle. When you get triggered by some kind of shadow wound within the next, 7 weeks is like a month and a half, um, allowing yourself to sit with the emotions and not suppress them or numb them or run from them is going to open some kind of opportunity up for you. So it's not a punishment to be triggered by a shadow wound in the next few weeks. It's actually like a final pop quiz that frees you from some bungee cord that was holding you back. Should I ask landlord D or G for a reference? D. Oh, I meant to pick two. G. Not G. I don't know if either of them seem like really good options. It's almost like they don't want to give it up or something. I feel like D is more prone to give it, um, but it might not be what you want it to be. It might be like lackluster. Whereas G, I don't know if G is going to want to do it at all. So I would say if only between the two, I'd go to D first. Let me see if I can turn this sound off of this. Hold on. Okay, there we go. All right. Will I have to stick it out at my job until the end of the year, or will a new opportunity come in? Stay. New opportunity. Out of these two options, it looks like stay. This is like defending my position. Sorry, my throat is really scratchy. One second. Okay. It doesn't look like comes in before the end of the year, a new opportunity. This looks like I'm defending my position and I'm holding out, I'm delaying or waiting. Will my ADA appeal allow me to work remotely? Not that it's not possible, but I don't see it's as likely as you would like it to be. There's something holding it up or holding it back. I almost feel like they're going to give some kind of like a shoddy excuse of like, oh, well, it feels like they're going to give you an excuse that's not a very good excuse as to why the remote isn't possible right now. And I feel as though you're going to be attached to that job for a little while longer. I messed this up. 1 second. How did I do this? Okay. Is my mom's body building up resistance to all meds? Anything we can do? What was previously working before has now reached some kind of ceiling or lid. This is like find a different way around the authority, in this case, the doctors. I don't know if that looks like getting some kind of appointment that would push insurance to have to do the testing that the doctor doesn't want to do, or like this is like mom says no, so go ask dad type energy, but like I'm going above your head. It does feel like there's some kind of testing that would push somebody to have to give a different kind of treatment that's not available without some kind of like authorization, is almost how I want to word that. A love triangle. So you tried the doctor, you are the top part of the triangle, trying a different direction. Small celebrations. There is some kind of other solution, but it needs like a reference or something. Can be hot-headed or rash. Somebody jumped to a conclusion too quickly, it feels like. Not like your family, like a service provider. It does feel like something has reached a limit, but there's a way to go above somebody's head to get another treatment plan or something to that effect. A message from my spirit guides or past family and animals. You made the right decision. You made a calm, right decision. In the past, you may have rushed into either people pleasing or avoidance of something. It's like this, you stopped yourself in your tracks from showing up as the unhealed version of yourself. This is almost a message of like needing to celebrate yourself, because I don't think that you stopped and paused to see what that growth actually means for you and what it means that you're able to make the decisions you're making now from the place that you're making them from now. I think this is a message of like you chose self-love and you didn't ever celebrate that within yourself. So there's a need to recognize how the choices that you're making now are not choices that the past versions of you would have made. And from Passover family, believe in yourself, you can do it, and it is beautiful where I am. So whoever it was that you were worried about, if they're okay, and they're guiding you to take that leap of celebrating yourself. They want you to believe in you like they believe in you. Will I move to Ireland or Australia? Anything I can do to speed up this move for my mom and I? Ireland, Australia, Australia, Australia. I feel like going to Australia, you're going to have better options for balance and restoration, whereas Ireland, I feel like you'd be able to make that move happen sooner than Australia, but maintaining long term, it feels like Australia would be the better option. There is something that needs to be overcome here. You're stuck when you're stuck when it comes to figuring out what you should be really considering to make this decision. Speed up this move for my mom and I. I feel like you need to be taking into consideration most highly where you will get the most either success, fulfillment, or like career abundance. Like whichever decision allows you to align with that opportunity is the one to go with if you're going back and forth. I feel like long term, that's Australia, and making it happen sooner. I feel like it's down to you making a final decision and then starting to get either job application. A lot sooner than what you're anticipating it taking right now, though. But there always is opportunities to speed it up. What does the future hold for my daughter? What is the spirit message today? What does the future hold? There's like a lot of competition when it comes to career, but also there's something unique that she can offer that puts her above the competition or allows her to compete in an effective way. It does feel like there's going to be some significant hardships that need to be overcome, and I feel like almost like that's connected to this, like cycling through like others trying to outshine her because they don't want to see her winning, it feels like. Yeah, Ace of Wands. I want to word this as there's something that she's going to be uniquely talented or good at that other people are intimidated by. So it feels like that's going to bring opportunity for success, but it's also going to bring a bit of like competitive type energy as well. What is your spirit message? To help her prepare for that. It feels like by giving her like a blueprint on which to build her internal dialogue in a healthy way. So leading by example when it comes to healthy internal dialogue and how to redirect it when it becomes unhealthy will help her get ready for that competitive energy that she'll eventually be facing because of what feels like a talent or like some kind of specific skill set. Do I need to access channeling classes or will it come to me as a natural evolution? You don't need to look outside of you. It will come to you. So this would be keeping everything internal. So it will start to filter out through you. It will come to you. I'm not saying to not look into maybe like different YouTube videos or different books. Like all of that will definitely help. But as far as needing to depend on an outside source, it's coming from within, and it will come through you. So natural evolution, it will. But again, you can feed into that by watching videos about it that interest you or reading books that help expand your mind and things like that. Will I receive an affirmation call from the Legends Theater and an opportunity to work for them? Do you have an answer for the theater? Is she like second or third in line or something like that? Is it someone that already works there or someone who's in line to work there? I can't tell if they're waiting for a position to open or if they're waiting to see if somebody else works out and then they don't and then you get it. There's like some haven't all the way committed to the decision yet, stuck in limbo. This would be the other person. This would be you eventually getting offered it, but the final decision has not yet been made. I feel like it's going to take some time before you hear something. I can't tell if it's like there's a position for somebody that is getting filled by another person, but then if a different one opens up, it goes to you. It's like you've impressed someone or will, but they're not ready to make a final decision yet, is how I'm reading that. I had foot surgery over a month ago. My toes are still numb, stiff, and burnt at night. What is causing it? What can I do to help it? I feel like it's just going to take time. Patience. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything. I mean, I guess there's certain like movements you can do to help circulate the blood and the energy, but I don't really I feel like for the improvement that you want to see, it's just going to take more time. Like it's time needs to pass for it to unnumb. And I know with my surgery, because I'm still numb as well, when I went on Monday, he said I might be numb for up to a year. So that's the reference I'm getting immediately in my mind was him saying that when I read your question. Patience. This could be kind of elevation, just taking care of the little suggestions that you already know and just making sure that you stay on track with them feels to be like a consistency of the little things will add up. But other than that, it feels like it's just time needs to pass more. And something about elevation. So it may be beneficial to elevate it as well if you're not already. Is my aunt so ill she's going to pass? And is she leaving everything to my sister and me? Is she going to pass? Not yet. It does feel like there is something that's going to be getting worse and then better. And then when it gets worse again, it goes more quickly. So it's like there's a longer period than you may be expecting. It feels like we're not there yet. But I feel like, yeah, truth. Something's going to take some kind of turn. So like right now we're here and then it goes down to here and then comes back up to here and maintains for a little bit and then quickly goes back down, is what I'm seeing. She leaving everything to my sister and me. There's an uneven distribution that may cause some tension. Is it between your sister and you? Somebody ends up not as happy as somebody else. I don't know if that's you and your sister are one and there's somebody else that's another, if there's another option. I want to word this as it's not distributed in the way that you are currently anticipating, and somebody ends up not as happy as another person, but they expected to be the same level of happy, if that makes sense. I feel like this is you and your sister. Yeah, the moon and 10 of swords. I would say no, not everything. Something, yeah, but not as much as anticipated, or something's keeping it unevenly distributed. What is my guide's advice for me at this time on my evolution? Grounding yourself, working on a restoration of seeing yourself from a perspective, almost like seeing yourself through the eyes of your inner child, or seeing yourself from an innocent perspective that's not attached to someone else's perceptions of themselves that they projected onto you. These cards are both about an imbalance. So there's a need to restore the balance when it comes to this Knight of Swords energy. So hesitating, restoring the balance when it comes to seeing yourself as worthy of not hesitating to speak up or speak your mind or speak your ideas. It's like reframing the way that you see yourself, starting with your internal dialogue and helping to restore the balance in some way, starting from within. Grounding is also important, grounding activities. Do my guides have any messages for me regarding my spiritual path? I feel like I'm making progress, but what do they think? Oh. One second, I have to clear. Okay. An internal journey that you have been on to connect the dots or pieces, something you're still in the dark about, needing to take action and take a leap of faith on yourself. To me, this is you having certain pieces of the puzzle of your life put together, but not being sure about if you're all the way right. Finding a way, either through tarot, channeling, meditation, asking for signs. It's like the pieces of your puzzle that you have in your mind that still have question marks next to it, finding a way to give yourself the proof that you're understanding those pieces correctly, if that makes sense. So taking action on clarifying what you have in terms of downloads. It feels like that has some kind of domino effect when it comes to the way that you trust yourself or view yourself. Yeah, it helps you go into calmer waters. Oh, it helps to alleviate the question marks from your mind, increasing self-trust. There's a need to validate the puzzle pieces that you've been working on, is how I would word that. Been doing live readings and they've been going good. Can you tell me what role the eclipse will play in my intuitive light? The power of now, environmental factors, personal boundaries. So when you are high vibe, you control the environment instead of the environment controlling you. The power of now, being grounded and present in the moment, personal boundaries. There's an increase coming in the way that you trust the messages that you're conveying, because you're going to start either getting feedback that shows you that you've been understanding and articulating the messages correctly. This is like proof of what you've already been doing to be efficient. So it feels like the eclipse is bringing in an increase in your abilities, because not because of the eclipse, but because the eclipse is bringing in the opportunity for you to learn to trust yourself more fully, because you're getting some kind of feedback about the messages that you've already been giving out being accurate. So this is like nothing that you really need to do. Yeah, nothing you need to do or nothing you need to say. It's coming to you. I would say the eclipse is bringing in proof of your abilities so that you can just continue doing what you're doing and building. What is the spiritual connection between A and I? A, you, energy between. It's like you're reflecting back to one another a clear version of seeing your own selves in action. So that can look like you having the right messages to help this person heal, or vice versa, or you having the right experiences so that this person can understand what they should do in their similar experiences. It's like, I want to word it as filling in the blanks for one another in terms of creating certain situations that allow you to see yourself in action mirrored back to you properly by the other person. That doesn't mean that you're like being the same person. It just means that you're holding space in such a way for one another so that you can self-heal, but through the relationship. This feels like you know how when you're doing like an obstacle course and there's one person runs through the maze and then they hand the next person the key and then that person takes off. What is that called? I forget, but that's what I'm seeing. It's almost like you're passing each other a baton so that you can continue on part of your mission. And that's meant to be very healing. What is that called? A relay or a rally? A relay? A relay race. You hand the key and then the next person goes, like a relay race. How can I best support my daughter through this difficult time in our lives? So this is the difficult times. This is an overflow or an outpouring of emotions. This is the need to overcome and express. So I would say just talking to her, letting her know that it's okay to feel her feelings and emotions, and giving her tools to process them. Being that support and foundation, just letting her know you're there. Queen of Cups would be you. A warm and nurturing environment. I would say just, I don't know how old she is. I don't feel like she's as old as or as young as the example I'm about to give. But you know, like when little children, they say like get down on their eye level and speak to them that way until it's like that, but in whatever age version she is. So finding ways to relate to where she's at and helping her come up with tools to process and maintain the flow of emotions, because it does feel like whatever this is very difficult right now, but it will be easier if she has the proper tools to continue and maintain a flow of emotions, especially in private, almost like helping her to come up with like a quick fix, or like when you're overwhelmed and alone and I'm not there, or you want space, like what can we create that allows you to start to feel better in those moments of like emergency emotions, I guess. Like a routine or a special interest or something to focus on outside of herself, and then teaching her how to pull herself into that instead of in her mind when it becomes too overwhelming. Is my daughter happy in her relationship? Her energy between the other person. There's a lot of avoidance here. I'm avoiding communicating because I'm trying to defend against something that would come up if I did communicate. I'm a little bit confused about why things aren't changing in the way that I thought they would. And there's some revelation of that avoidance. So I'm realizing that certain things are being swept under the rug. I wouldn't say all the way happy or all the way unhappy. It feels like a state of transition, and they're trying to figure it out. Not ready to walk away, not completely unfulfilled and ready to walk away, but definitely some work needed in terms of either emotional availability or communication. Getting on, there's a need to get on the same page in some way. Why do I feel I don't have any energy today? I'm tired all of the time. High pressure, high anxiety, accident, trap, pain. It's like it's coming from your mind. Your mind is like hamster wheeling on something, trapped in the mind. The energy, your energy being split between two things, being trapped in the mind, trap, that's taking a high pressure. I feel like you need some kind of outlet. I know that you're exhausted, but when I say adding in an outlet, that's going to feel like I don't have the energy to do that because I don't have the energy to do what I'm doing now. But it feels like the lack of energy is coming from a hamster wheel of thought in your mind. So giving yourself a break from that, like a mental mini vacation break. So like it can be some kind of exercise or grounding activity. It can be maybe you need to make sure you're eating more life force foods. So kind of focusing on making that something fun to do, or like giving yourself a brain break. It feels like it doesn't feel something medical related. It just feels like you're spending more time than you're realizing on a mental hamster wheel, and it's draining you more than you're recognizing. Does the person I'm thinking of have serious feelings for me and see a future between us? That person. You. Energy between. It feels like they haven't made their mind up all the way yet, but they also see you as a prize, that they're not I tend to feel like eventually you're going to feel as though there's something missing here. This is not all the way fulfilled. This is a release of something. I do feel as though eventually you're going to be asking for or desiring more before this person just shows up willing to offer you more without you having to ask for it. I feel like this person sees you as a prize, or like a, I don't know if prize is the right word. This person feels accomplished by having you on their arm, but they don't know if they're ready to commit to the same level as what you would be. Um, this feels like a fear of that commitment because this is like a lack of freedom to explore. So I feel like there's potential, but this person hasn't made up their mind yet. But it's not that they haven't made up their mind about you. It's that they haven't made up their mind if they're ready to be willing to commit to the same level of what they feel like you deserve. Why am I having so much difficulty remembering the reverse tarot cards? Will this get better as I actually begin to read for people? I would say start with not doing the reversals for right now, because I feel like when you're overthinking certain, so as you find that, because it's all about the intention you set. So if I would have set the intention to read all of my cards upright before I did this, these aren't the cards that would have came out. Other cards would have came out to convey the same message in an upright position. So you can get all of the answers from the cards upright. And if you feel as though you're being overwhelmed by them in reverse, just do them upright for longer. There's a lot of readers who only read upright cards that have been doing it for a very long time, and that's because the answers are there. It's just kind of a preference. So if right now you feel not ready for that, that's okay. Just read them all upright, set the intention that anything that comes out in a reversal, I'm going to flip it to upright victory. So as you'll start to feel when you are ready, because you're going to get the same message whether it's upright or reversed. It's just depending on what intention you're setting, because your guides can give you the messages with all reversals or with all upright. They'll just choose different cards depending on how you said you were going to read them. So I would say just stick with upright for now until you get more comfortable, and then maybe focus on like one card every few days of just like reading over the reversal of that card until that's lodged into your memory type thing. But just give yourself more time, I would say. Any direction on shadow wounds, childhood wounds, family wounds, so that I can begin to address them. Neglect wounds, attachment to material possessions, perfectionism. It feels like the wound that you're really looking at here is feeling like other things were more important than you to other people, and feeling like you had to be perfect or that you had to be doing something to earn love. So reframing the mindset around knowing that you're worthy just from being, and that you don't have to be do in order to earn someone's love, even if in the past love was only given to you in a transactional or earned way. um what is that quote? It's like, the biggest neglect wound is when we don't show up for ourselves or we neglect our own needs or something like that. So the wound here we're looking at is not feeling good enough. So needing to show yourself how you've been good enough this whole time. We have the Page of Wands in reverse. It feels like there's been a lack of commitment to knowing yourself because of feeling unworthy, or feeling like there's like a self-abandonment here that's projected because of the abandonment of others. So I feel like this also shows up as a money wound in terms of self-worth. So I would say taking every opportunity to show up for yourself in ways that right now you hesitate to. Um, and knowing that the wound that you really are looking into is feeling like other things were always more important than you. So that can be like certain meditations surrounding upon that reframing of that mindset. But knowing that that is not true, that other things were not more important than you, but other people were avoiding facing their own wounds, and that's why they chose what they chose. My daughter was just diagnosed with brain cancer. Are my parents watching over her? Sorry. Daughter, this would be parents, yes, and this would be a healing energy. This is like I'm embracing you in a healing protection. I can't be there. How do I word this? There's no intention to bring your daughter over with them. It's like we're not preparing her to come over here. We're sending healing there, is the message. So are they watching over her? Yes. It feels like what they're really doing is encouraging her to take care of herself when she doesn't feel like it. Like when I feel like I see something that needs to be done for me and I just don't have the energy or I just don't feel like it, they get the ball rolling again and help her to restore balance. It's a very like encouraging energy, I guess I'd say, but it's almost like they filter it through her own thoughts. So like I'm sending you desire to keep pushing, but I'm making it feel like it's coming from your thoughts type thing. Do not be afraid, and I'm with the rest of the family. Oh, you said parents. I said that's a parent. It's specifically mother. I'm with the rest of the family. So, yes, both of them. And that would be them and your daughter. Do not be afraid. So, that comforting support energy. Hold on. I'm hearing a song. Fix You by Coldplay is the song. Oh no, I lost my place. Any guidance this month? Slow down and look at something from a different direction. This is like maybe advice in the past that you were given and grazed over, or something, a change that you started to make and didn't all the way follow through. It's like there is something in there that would have been more beneficial. What does this have to do with? An opportunity for fulfillment that you may have been hesitating to take on yourself in the past. I almost want to word this as taking your own advice or taking the advice that you gave to someone else or looking at yourself as if you were a different person other than you and what advice would you give to you. There's something specific that needs to kind of be pivoted. What needs to be pivoted? Painful ending. Holding yourself back from some kind of financial opportunity or financial pivot or career pivot, taking your own advice in that way, or taking advice that you had in the past that didn't get followed through all the way. Any advice for me doing aura readings? There's some bit of like unintentional self-sabotage here when it comes to like triple thinking what you're receiving. So I would say the advice would be outside of the actual aura reading. So like in your practice or whatever meditations, how do I word this? Like finding ways to test that what you're receiving as messages is correct so that when you're doing the readings, you know that you're interpreting it how it's meant to be received. So almost like studying the Morse code that your guides use to communicate with you so that you can trust more deeply in the moment that you're perceiving the messages correctly because you're getting them correctly. It's just there's a bit of doubting or second guessing or like, yeah, I feel like doubting or second guessing yourself. So coming up with some kind of system, maybe it's like, you know how some people have like a deck of cards and they'll all have like a different color or something on the bottom and they just kind of intuitive tests. I feel like that kind of thing would help. And I also feel like needing to come up with ways to confirm what you receive in meditations outside of the context of your aura readings. So that can be like tarot, like clarifying, like I'm receiving this message. Am I receiving this correctly type thing? It doesn't feel like you need to do anything differently in the context of your readings. It's just increasing the trust you have in how you're receiving the messages. Will my dog Bailey be okay? There's something else. How do I word this? You're not in the final home stretch yet. There's something else that still needs to be done so that he will be okay. And it feels like it's going to take a minute or it's going to take longer than anticipated to be in the clear. I would say not in the home stretch yet. Not in the clear yet. There's still going to be some kind of hurdle to overcome or an obstacle to overcome. Oh no. Reading 2 questions and I do not in the listen. I do not see. I see one of them. Is there a possibility for a promotion and benefits on my work soon? Not as soon as you would like. Feels like something is holding it back, but it doesn't feel like it's coming from you that's holding it back, like not something that you're doing incorrectly. There is an eventual offer, but something that's out of your control behind closed doors is still in the works of being promotion and benefits. I feel like it's possible that there may be some kind of like a promotion that's not a promotion, but it's like a trial period, if that makes sense. Like there may be some increased responsibility and then bridged into some kind of promotion or benefit, but I don't feel like that comes first. There's like some kind of test or trial period. Something does eventually come, but I feel like it's going to be a bit longer than what you would desire timeline wise. Does my Aunt Carol have something to tell me? Either somebody's not who they're pretending to be, or you already had some kind of like picking up on that, like that person feels off, or I have this inkling about this person and you were correct. I almost feel like this is in the past though. Like you already made a decision based off of that, and she's just confirming that you made the correct decision because you were correct about an observation about another person, if that makes sense. But it feels like this already happened. It's not something that's happening right now. I have no more earthly worries, and I have kissed or touched you for comfort and reassurance. I feel like that was in this moment. You already had some kind of upset about this. And now you have nothing to worry about either, but she's just saying good job for the decision that you did make. Oh, awesome. I started my true crime channel. Any advice on building up an audience? Making a decision to bring into the public eye a different side of true crime. Making a decision to bring into the public eye a different side of true crime. I'm almost feeling like something unique, such as like looking into it from this person's perspective, and then how the investigators maybe looked into it, like almost like coming up with two sides of the story and how they merge, like a unique element of like, okay, you can see two sides of the coin this way, or something like that, like a comparison between perspective. Some kind of, I'm seeing some kind of series of a comparison of perspective, either between like media and social media, or this person, that person, perpetrator, family member, like something like that, like comparing perspectives in some way, however that translates. My mother now lives in the condominium. She wants to give it to my brother. Do I get something from inheritance? Mother lives in condo. She wants to give it to my brother. Do I get something? I'm wondering if you may end up getting something from your brother, because it looks like when it comes to your mother, there's something blocking it. This would be her. This would be keeping things away from being given. But then this is healing, two opposing forces working together. Something being taken back. A separation. Will you get something? Yes, but I don't think you're getting the same amount or same degree as what your brother's getting. I almost want to word it as like a consolation prize, like not the first option you would have, but you get something, but it's not really what you were hoping for. Any message from my dad, grandma, or Uncle Paul? Grandma, dad, grandma. Dad, grandma, or Uncle Paul? There's a need to pour back into yourself in some way. There's something lacking in terms of what you're willing to do to care for your mind, it feels like. And there's some form of expression that's needed as well. Almost like a what would grandma do situation when it comes to another individual. I almost feel like grandma is someone who takes no crap, and she's calling you to also take no crap. It's like follow my lead and make a decision. A calling to choose you, regardless of what that means for another person here. Almost like a what would grandma do type thing. Tears cleanse the soul. Do the things you love. Never regret doing what makes you feel happy. Choosing you. It's almost giving me the energy of like, you're allowed to speak up about things that you've gone through, and if that makes other people look bad, they should have played a better role. That's not on you type thing. Making yourself proud through expression of self. Do I have a generational curse? This is giving you being meant to be the curse breaker of said injustice that was kind of cast here by others' decisions or choices. Psychic sensitivity overload. Crown chakra blockage. I have a generational curse. So it was like the same image, like all of these people have different like head up to the hand, and then this is one version of that. You are meant to break what the rest of your family was unable to transmute. Psychic sensitivity and crown chakra. This is like the generational curse can show up in multiple ways, and it has to do with not aligning with your highest potential because of unintentionally self-sabotaging, because of not being able to see the how of the next steps being able to unfold. So I would say you're meant to break the pattern of settling for less than what your potential actually is. And I also feel like there is some spiritual element here, like feeling disconnected spiritually, or feeling like you have gifts and can't access them. And it feels like that's connected to taking your power back in some way when it comes to expression, speech, visualizing type energy. Oh, hey, Taylor. I'm cool. What cards I want cool? Hold on. What is coming for Taylor? Stargate heart chakra opening, unlocking, and generosity, which aligns perfectly with your stories that I've been seeing over the last couple of days. You know what this is? You broke through the barrier. It's like other people tried to put you in a cage so that you could not love yourself, and you busted right out of that cage. That's what that is. And now you're regrounding in that energy. That's a Merkaba. So some kind of new gifts coming in or increased gifts coming in. Do you see anything regarding sexuality? Was my past life lesbian or a man? A change that's different than you're experiencing in this lifetime. This would be the inversion of third eye, reading it correctly, coming in fast. I feel like this is saying I feel more strongly about lesbian than I would man. I do feel like there's a major difference in your sexuality in this life than it was in a previous lifetime. I'm more confident about going the route of there's that 3 of Wands again. And the 8. I feel like lesbian, but you've had to hide it. So maybe you were with a man, but not all the way into that person. It feels like something like that. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more and then I have to get off because Gavin is giving me a very hard time today. Where was I? He's off school this week. So, all right, let me finish doing these. I am starting a new job on May 13th. Do my guides have any, did I unmute? Yes. Do my guides have any advice for me as I begin this new journey? To be patient with yourself. It may feel as though it's an uphill climb, or there may be I guess I'd say a bit of a learning curve in some regard, but you're able to handle it. So be patient with yourself. Yeah, you're coming out on top here. It's just almost like don't start a cycle of negative self-talk that's hard to get out of the cycle of. If you find something hard or challenging, look at it as like a game or an opportunity to like beat. It's like you versus the challenge instead of you I don't want to word that you versus you because it is you versus you, but it's like look at it in a fun way instead of letting it deplete you or make you talk yourself out of an opportunity, because you're going to figure it out, but there may be a little bit of a learning curve in some way, or like getting your footing may take a little longer than you want. I keep seeing repeating numbers literally every day. I'll just glance at the clock and it'll be 11, 11, 4, 4, 4, 2, 2, 2. What is the message behind this? Showing you the opportunity to free yourself from the hold that someone else has on your energy by putting down a heavy burden. It feels like the repeating numbers are showing up based off of like the cycle of thoughts that are occurring, showing you how to find fulfillment instead of a burden. I would almost say if you're able to, like notes in your phone or something, start keeping track of like what was I thinking right before I saw this number, or what is my current thought. It's like it's trying to hand you something for you to put together to break yourself from some kind of past energy that's not serving you, or cycle of thoughts that you often get trapped in. Essentially, it's like little keys being handed to you, but you have to put them together to make it into a big key to use it, if that makes sense. Any message from my mom? You've come a long way in your ability to make decisions from a like even keeled, not emotionally triggered perspective. And there's a feeling of you needing to trust yourself again by giving yourself the opportunity to look at how that change has impacted you, or that healing has impacted you. It's like you've made some internal changes and now need to project those changes into your environment in some way, like the internal to match the external type energy, because you've made some kind of massive change, but you're not realizing it because you're not seeing it externally yet. I know you feel so much hurt and pain, but I promise it's going to get better. And I'm not dead. I'm alive in everything, constantly flowing energy. Any messages for your spirit guides? Your grandma's in the ICU and I'm trying to stay strong. I'm sorry. I would say there's a need for caution when it comes to you needing to kind of take back control over either mindset or emotions. It's like something's running away with you, or running away with you. Some needing to put a cog in the wheel to stop some kind of motion that's going in the wrong direction when it comes to your thoughts or your emotions. It's like something has more control over you right now than it needs to have, but you have the power to take the control back. Not going with the flow here. There's like a brain break needed. So this can be needing to like dive into a book that feels like it takes you out of your mind for a little bit, or depending on how you feel about sitting in meditation, if that doesn't make the overwhelm worse, there's a need to deflate the balloon. It's like the balloon is all the way full right now. You're holding a lot energetically, and there's a need to start to deflate the balloon before the balloon pops. So a need to radically do some kind of self-love, or something for yourself, like a brain break, a brain vacation. There's a lot of thought traffic, and you need to give yourself a break from it for a minute, so you can start to switch momentum in the direction of starting to feel better. Okay, I'm going to do about 10 more minutes. I'm going to try and do like a rapid fire so I can get through as many as possible. And just as I said that, I lost my spot. Will my daughter graduate? Will my daughter graduate? Yes. I feel like you're worried about something though. It feels like there's a solution coming, whatever it is that you're worried about. I almost feel like the solution doesn't come from her, it comes from outside of her, but is like she falls into alignment with some kind of solution. But yes, those are all a yes. Any idea why D had to pass away? This is like an agreement or a contract, and this is like not wanting to fight out of my control. It feels like it was just in terms of soul plan, it was D's time. Not an offer, offered myself. It feels like it was just that person's time. Like it was, there's some role that that passing plays in another person's life that's very significant. And that's not why, but it's like that worked in combination with each other. Like the timing is very significant for more than one person. It has to hurt so they can heal, is what I'm hearing. Has to hurt so they can heal. I don't think it's any like punishment or anything that person did wrong. It's just the plan of their soul. Thank you. Let's pull, see what we get. Either you're undergoing right now or you're about to undergo a change in a belief system or a change in something that you thought was like solid. Don't allow yourself to shut yourself out of this perspective shift, but don't allow yourself to be completely overwhelmed by it either. Let it come in like little waves. It's like almost like you hear a knock at the door hypothetically and you're like, oh, okay, you're walking over to answer it, but it's your higher self is leading you towards a major perspective shift in a belief system that requires your patience and requires you to not get too ahead of yourself, if that makes sense. Should my teen son buy his first car this weekend that he's looking at? There's something that he's not seeing about it yet. I don't know if it's something with the actual car itself. I don't know if it's like something that's going to need to be fixed or something that may have just been fixed that wasn't fixed properly. There's like something that's going to require action on his part that's involved, but I am getting a Fool here. Resisting change. I would say to double and triple check everything. It does look like it's an option, but it also looks like there may be a better option depending on what it is that's not all the way right with this. Almost like a false representation of something. It is a possible option, but almost like trying to get to the bottom of what may not be 100% accurately represented before he commits would be beneficial. I was laid off in December and I'm still trying to find a job. Do you have any advice or insight if I'll have a new job soon? Wondering if there's somebody you know that would have an option or like an in, and or people that you know that have jobs that you're like, oh, I could do that. Maybe looking into their specific company or something similar. It's like you're not there yet, not as soon as you would like, but something is coming. But it's almost like I get information or like a clue or like a lead from someone that I know, and then I use that in some way. Something you can see publicly. I see you doing this, and I find out a way to get into a similar situation. If there's people you know that you've been considering reaching out to and just haven't yet, I feel like one of them may be a good option. If not, I would say switching the way that you're applying or switching the what you're applying to. It feels like you're like close but no cigar type energy. Like there's something available, but you need to pivot a little bit to see how to align with that opportunity. I almost feel like this is translating to something like remote or something online. Maybe not. Should go there slow. Like a secretary, like office type thing, maybe like a scheduler, something like that is kind of what I'm getting from that. Where maybe you can work from home some days, because I'm getting something about like remote or moving, like not moving you, but like here and there type energy. Not as quickly as you would like, though. There's still a little bit of a wait. Will I get a special education or a similar job in Miami for next year? Not next year, slower than you think. There's a choice that needs to be made in order to overcome some kind of obstacle. But then there is a solution. I would say not next year or a different job location. I feel like it would be quicker in a different location, or maybe a different job. No, I feel like same job, different location would be quicker, like sooner. Can you tell me about my past life? There it is. This energy gave me like escaping a cult, and then I got childhood trauma and addiction. So it feels like there's something major that you had to overcome in a past life. I don't know if this is just like religious programming or an actual like situation like a cult that you had to get out of, but I feel almost like an addiction to pain to try and numb what occurred in that past life and cut the cords of it. I would say either heavy religious trauma or heavy like group of people that had you feeling mentally or physically trapped that caused a lot of issues that needed to be overcome. Like almost like your divine protection is what saved you, because otherwise it would have been a trapped situation. So divinely led out of what seemed like an impossible situation. Today is my mom's birthday. Does she have a message for me? Also, if you can, I'm having troubling symptoms. Is my cancer returning? I feel like the message from your mom is there's like a need to get an answer about something in order to alleviate the mental stress that's coming from not knowing and not taking some kind of action so that you can have clarity of mind here. So almost like the message of like just go get the answer that you need to find. I am standing right next to you. I watch over you every day, every hour, every minute. Never feel like you are alone. There's one more. Hearing very clearly, there's one more. I was met by so many loving people. Is my cancer returning? I would say something's up. I feel like she's guiding you to go get checked out what you're worried about right now, because I feel like you have an inkling, and that inkling is leading to the revelation of some kind of issue here in which a change is going to be needed to be needed to make. I almost feel like there's some hesitation in going and getting some kind of observation, and that's what she's guiding you to do, almost like as a birthday present to her. Like, go give yourself the peace of mind type thing. There's a secret I've been keeping. Is there a chance it might come out unexpectedly or in a negative way? Unexpectedly, in a negative way. So unexpectedly, yes, but almost like unexpectedly in the way that you're expecting. I don't know if that's the right way to word that. There's something that you are worried about, and there's a secret that I've been keeping. It doesn't feel like the secret is what would come out. It would be like almost like a conversation in which you should be able to say something if you weren't keeping a secret, but you can't give the answer because if you gave the answer, then the secret would be attached to it, type of thing. So not straight out it coming out, but like the lack of other information leading to someone else recognizing that there is a secret, if that makes sense. So in a negative way, I wouldn't say it's going to be like innately negative, but it's more like the lack of an answer is the answer. Yeah, that's what it feels like. The lack of an answer or a response gives someone the answer or response that there is a secret, but without knowing what the secret is, if that makes sense. That feels like the most highly likely scenario. How much longer do we have our mom with us? Do we have an answer for the mom? A year or more? 5 years or less? Year or more, 5 years or less. In between a year and 5 years? Is there some kind of significant change coming in the next 2 years? 3 years? I would say 3 to 5 years. It feels like there's some kind of significant change that's coming that's going to determine the amount of time after that change. A release of the balance. The balance gets messed up. Something gets thrown off balance wise, and that is kind of like when the beginning of the end is signaled, I guess you could call it. Another card about imbalance, freeing from two things. I want to word this as two separate things that she deals with start to interact or interfere with each other, and that causes some kind of issue within the next 3 to 5 years. Almost like two things that aren't connected to each other, though. It's weird. It's like I have this issue, and somehow this one makes this one worse, or vice versa. That. And then there's a need for like some other different type of care to come in that isn't here now. Or a change in the amount of care or an increase in the amount of care. I don't know if that means like a hospice thing or like a nursing home thing. It's like there's some leading towards some kind of significant change where two things interact negatively with each other is what I'm getting. I'm going to do about 5 more, and then I need to hop off to check on Gavin. Trying to get to people I haven't gotten to yet. Let me see. Will Gillen's daughters get any type of justice for the death of their mother, and does she have a message for them? I feel like justice looks difficult right now. Something different action needed to be taken in order to have a fighting chance for the justice that they deserve when it comes to the mother. I just want to word this as needing to approach the situation from a different, unexpected perspective. I don't know what a private investigator would have to do with this, but that's, I keep feeling like I'm hearing private investigator. Like there's something, hold on, I have to cough. There's something that needs to be dug up in order for the justice to come. I don't know how that translates. The message is that she's still with you, and to allow, I feel like this is more specifically for the daughters, but also you. It's okay to allow yourself to be happy, even though there's been, you know, what feels like a tragedy or what feels like a time cut short. That doesn't mean to not let yourself experience joy moving forward. If my passing has been difficult, I'm sending you joy and adaptability, and the earth is our school. There's something else to be learned or uncovered or discovered so that they can throw the book at whoever the person is that did something. I feel like out of the box thinking is needed to get justice. Can my husband's higher self or guides give me advice on how to help him in our marriage? Trying something different. Heart chakra blockage. Sensitivity overload. So sensitive when it comes to feeling his feelings. This feels like some kind of work that he needs to do that doesn't involve you directly. So like not couples therapy. That wouldn't be it doesn't feel like that is what this is saying would be the most beneficial. It feels like work he needs to do in solitude to start to see himself in a different light. I know it sounds cliche, but this is like the problem's not really coming from you. It's something that within himself he's not willing to face because heart chakra blockage. I don't want to feel feelings. I'm very sensitive to feeling feelings, so I isolate. It feels like needing to convince him in some way that it's okay to face the emotions that he's been avoiding and express them to someone, but that someone doesn't feel like it needs to be you in this case. It's like, I need to talk to someone that's not you so that I can start to prepare myself to interact with you emotionally again, if that makes sense. Somehow went back up. Any messages from better half? There's like a lack of expressing yourself that's making you feel like you're disconnected either from others or from your emotions. There's a need for grounding here to restore the balance and some form of expression. It's like a conversation that needs to be had or something that needs to just be let out off your chest, so to speak. Divine authority. Service to others. It feels like a conversation with another person that needs to be had. Quantum healing so that there can be deeper healing. I want to word this as the only way out is through, and you're strong enough to go through. My youngest daughter keeps losing weight. It's been a struggle to get her to gain. Any suggestions? Toxic load. This is my parasite card. And this would be releasing a toxic load of parasites. It's almost like the problem isn't, how do I word this? I would say look into like parasite cleanse, heavy metal detox. It feels like something internal is causing what she does take in to not produce the energy that she needs it to produce to continue to care for herself in some way for the rest of the day. And I'm also feeling as though some kind of like high protein or high something shakes. I don't know how she does with shakes, but that's the reference I'm getting, especially with these cups, like some kind of like clearing out of what it is that's working against her and replacing that with something that's maintains for longer in terms of either like fullness or something. I'm almost getting the energy of like a continuously upset stomach, even though it doesn't feel to be that, but it feels like it's stemming from like a parasitic or like something in her body that is like working against her in ways she doesn't realize. I don't know how that translates. almost like if her body was having an unknown allergic reaction to something, not like a literal allergic reaction, but something that she is taking in is causing what she does take in to not allow for either continuous hunger or restlessness. The past, stamina. It feels like needing to look into like some kind of reset, um, like starting from scratch type energy, if that makes sense. When it comes to either like a detox or a cleansing, and then building on top of that with something that's like a shake or like something that's easy to get in that she can kind of like time it for a certain amount of time and like kind of like force herself in a way to kind of take that in until she gets used to the feeling of like expansion again from food, I guess you'd say. Yeah, Midwest Girl, if you drop your channel name, I'll post it. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to get through all of these guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do 2 more and then I have to hop off. Who am I? What energy do I put out? I feel awkward. People show annoyance when I speak, and I'm invisible when I don't. On and offline. You're not invisible. It's them choosing not to see you because you trigger something that makes them feel stuck. Like uh, you speaking makes people recognize where there still is room for improvement or healing in their own life. This feels like it almost feels like when I say to you that you're unintentionally triggering to people, you might not believe me because you might not feel like you have that power, but that's what this is saying. Social queen, this would be bringing something up that needs to be fixed. This would be stagnancy or stuck, and this would be a release of something painful when you speak. It feels almost like you hold the space for people to then step into to where they could then recognize where they are maybe a little bit more closed-minded, or like I guess I'd say you cause people to think differently, and some people are comfortable thinking the way that they've always thought. And that doesn't have to be necessarily your voice, but just your energy, like who you are as a person, your energy signature. And that's not a bad thing. It just feels like a lot of times you're interacting with people who aren't ready to expand their perception or their perspective of the truth that they feel that they hold. Yeah, false start. I think I would word this as intellectually triggering or intellectually calling people to step into an energy of where they don't feel like they can meet you at yet. Thank you so much to all of my mods. I have no idea where I'm at. Any validity to my Aunt Susie's crystal skull story before her passing? I would word this as some, but what's that word? Exaggerated in some ways. Either exaggerated or not the full story. So there's some truth and validity, but there's also something that is either kept just to herself. Feels like not the full story. There's pieces missing, is what I'd say. Okay, I don't know why I keep going back up. I'm wondering if I need to end things with my partner or if I should try to keep making things work. I have doubts. Your partner, you, energy between. Well, I see why you have doubts. That's very confusing. It feels like from your partner's perspective, there's some kind of hesitation to just like either put pride and ego down and just work with you instead of work against you. Or maybe it's like not being as emotionally available as they could be when they know that you want that. There's something like that. It's like you keep offering chance after chance, and you may be starting to feel as if you're selling yourself short by doing so. There is an opportunity for this to go in a positive direction, but you both need to be on the same page. And it feels like right now the other person is not on the same page. Should I keep trying to make it work? I would word it like this. There's a difficult conversation that needs to be had to see if you can get on the same page. Hold on one second. I have no voice from Gavin being home all week. Anyway, there's a difficult conversation that needs to be had. If you two can't get on the same page, I would say to ask yourself if in 5 years, if you were still reliving the same day that you're having with this person all the time, would you be happy with that? Because I don't think you would. So I think there's an opportunity to keep trying to make it work if you can get the other person to have that difficult conversation with you. Just lay it all out there, because it's kind of like, what do you have to lose? Because if you don't, the cycle will continue. So looking at it that way, and if you can't get on the same page, then I think if the other person's not willing to try and meet you halfway, it's probably time to walk away, or to at least pull back your energy and see how they react. All right, everyone, I have to hop off. I think I scheduled a subscribers live for Monday, and I'm probably going to do a members live Tuesday or Wednesday, and then Thursday or Friday. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you to my mods, and I will see you all soon.